Here are 15 predictions from boxing pros for the Mike Tyson vs. Jake Paul fight. Let's hear from one of the best, Pac-Man. Pacquiao was asked about the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight, and here's what he had to say.
Versus Mike Tyson. That fight just got announced. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson.
They're going to fight that?
Yeah, they're gonna.
Here's the part where he gives his prediction.
Do you think Jake Paul can beat Mike Tyson?
I don't think so.
Now let's look at the man who got bit by Tyson, Vander, the real deal Holyfield. Holyfield is a boxer who had beaten Tyson twice in his career, and these were his thoughts on the scheduled fight.
I don't know, how do you see that fight stylistically? How do you see like Mike at this age? By the time he fights Jake, I think he'll be 58 if I'm correct.
The confidence, the other guy, I don't know how much confidence that Jake Paul have, but you know he's gonna be a lot quicker. And if he stay close to Mike, then his chance of winning gonna be great. But he try to stay back from Mike. He gonna get caught.
Would it surprise you if Jake won? Or do you think Mike, because of Mike's body of work, his experience, that like he shouldn't be losing a fight like that?
But the thing is you don't get in these things if you don't believe you can win.
Now, Holyfield did also come out of retirement when he fought UFC fighter Vitor Belfort, so maybe that's why he wasn't all in on Tyson. Another legend of the sport was asked his thoughts on the matchup. Lennox Lewis had also famously defeated Tyson back in 2002, and here's what he had to say.
Oh, okay. I wanted to ask you real quick, are you looking forward to the Tyson fight with Jake Paul?
Absolutely.
Do you wish it was a sanctioned fight and not an exhibition like it's going to be?
No, because I would feel really bad for Jake Paul. I don't want him to get hurt.
Gotcha.
Lewis isn't the only retired boxer whose money is on Tyson. Another former boxer, Thomas the Hitman Hearns, was also Team Tyson.
Well, I was just going to ask you what you think about the Tyson-Jake Paul fight. Who do you think will win? Any predictions?
Everybody know Tyson will win. I want to lean towards Tyson, you know. Yeah, you got to vote for Tyson. That's his brother.
Let's go to England now for number 12, Anthony Joshua. Now we hear from a former world heavyweight champion who's still active in the sport. On an episode of The Jonathan Ross Show, Anthony Joshua was first asked what he thought about YouTube boxers.
What do you think of this trend at the moment of YouTubers entering the world of boxing? Because Jake Paul's about to fight Mike Tyson, isn't he?
Yes.
What do you think about this trend?
Well, I personally think it's really good. I think that the boxing hardcores, like the boxing fanatics, they don't like it because it's like, why are they disrespecting our sport? There's an Olympic system. But I think, let's say we divided this crowd in half and you've got half of the people that are hardcore boxing fans and half of the people that love a certain person that's into YouTube.
Like a YouTuber, yeah.
But that person brings all of these people into boxing, which benefits everyone else that's involved.
Because some of
in the
them might
industry.
stay not just for that match. They might get into the sport.
And it's a tough game, so everyone viewing helps. So I think it's really good for people that need like some exposure.
He now reveals who he thinks will emerge victorious and why.
Between Mr. Paul and Mr. Tyson, which one do you think is going to win?
The only thing I'm worried about is Father Time. That's one thing that has never been beat. And Tyson's, he's older now. But I pray that he comes out healthy. But I think Jake Paul because of youth.
Joshua reckons Jake Paul would win the fight because Tyson is much older. He's one of the only boxers on this list who didn't pick Tyson to win. For number 11, we have a guy who may not have fought professionally, but he sure has the credentials to analyze the sport. Joe Rogan had his thoughts to share on the matter too. He first gives accolades to Jake Paul as a boxer.
And I don't know the ins and outs of boxing, but is this Logan Paul, is he a legitimate boxer?
A legitimate boxer, yes. I say if this kid was not a YouTuber, if he wasn't some guy that you knew from the time he was like 16 years old on YouTube, and you just saw him box, and you saw him knock out former UFC champions, you saw him beat legitimate boxers, or beat athletes, and beat a bunch of MMA fighters, you'd go, this kid can fucking fight. He knows how to fight. Like, nothing he's doing looks wrong. He's not like sticking his head straight up in the air and winging punches with his eyes closed. He's fighting well. He looks good. And if he was just an up-and-coming boxer that was this exciting, like highly promotable, like really good at selling fights, you'd be like, this kid's the future. Mm-hmm. He's really something special. And the fact that he's willing to fight Tyson, even if Tyson's 57, just the fact that he's willing to actually take a chance at Mike Tyson not being able to do what he used to do.
Now he seems to give Jake Paul some advice.
He's in savage mode. If I was Jake Paul right now, I would be shitting my pants.
Oh, bro.
All the experiences that he has had as a conqueror, you have to take those into consideration. When a man has smashed men before, just smashed men, like when no one can stand in front of him, that is in his mind still. That's in there. There's a dark chamber in his mind that he can open up.
Yeah.
And I think he's got it open. The question is, can his body move along with it? But that part of his mind, like you're clearly seeing, he's terrifying when he's in the zone.
In another podcast episode, he had this to say to the people who speculated that Tyson would lose because of his age. He continued by emphasizing that Tyson's age didn't take much away from him as a boxer, and especially because of his training routine, he had a good chance against Jake Paul. For number 10, we have former undefeated boxer Floyd Mayweather. Mayweather is someone who's considered one of the greatest pound-for-pound boxers in history. He's also had his share of issues with Jake in the past, and here's what he had to say.
That stuff that happened in Miami is, and the talk has died down some, but at the time, people badly wanted you and Jake Paul to fight. Is he someone you're interested in or no?
Well, if you go back, you got to do your homework, look on the internet. I think he was doing a sit down on a podcast one time, and he talked about it. He said, I don't want to do an exhibition against Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
He said, I'm only doing real fights. And of course, I can't get up high in weight, but I'll fight him in a real fight at the weight that I'm at. But Jake Paul, I mean, as of right now, for what he's doing, it's good for what he's doing. But once he fights a real fighter, it's going to be bad.
Have you been impressed?
But one thing I like about him, one thing I do like about him, he's selling it. He's selling it, and he's making good money, and he's entertaining. I like it.
Is he? And Floyd, there are many people who believe you're the most talented fighter ever. Period. So whatever you say to this question, I think is important. Are you impressed? Does he have boxing ability, or is he just an entertainer who has a lot of fans and can promote a fight and has fought lesser opponents, or is he actually talented?
As long as he continues to fight MMA guys and YouTubers, he's going to continue to look good and shine. But once he fights a real fighter, a real fighter that can really fight, it's not going to be that good.
Does he have the ability, with what you've seen, to continue to mold himself into somebody who can actually? He told me before his goal is to fight Canelo, so that's where his mindset's at.
He'll get by Canelo. Oh, I'm sorry, it's TMT.
You can curse.
I apologize, but
no problem.
There's no way he'd get demolished.
That was an interview about a year before the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fight was scheduled. But from Floyd's comments, he clearly believes Jake doesn't stand a chance against a real boxer like Tyson. Oh, and here's a clip from that infamous Jake Paul Mayweather incident they were talking about.
I feel good, and I'm gonna go out there and perform and do what I do best.
Floyd,
you got two fake fighters. Fake fighter. I'm a real fighter.
But as he was starting to walk away, Jake showed up.
Yo.
Looking over here? What's up? You wanna run it 2 in 1 night? What's up? You want to run it 2 in 1 night?
Absolutely.
You want to run it 2 in 1 night?
Absolutely.
Let's
do it.
Let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen.
Yes, sir.
Get the paperwork for this bum.
Get Al Heyman.
Absolutely. I don't need Al Heyman.
Let me call Al Heyman.
I'm my own boss. I'm my own
2 in
boss.
1 night. Got your hat. Got your hat.
Lucky for Jake, his brother Logan came to his rescue. Yet another boxer who isn't in favor of Jake winning is former UFC champion Conor McGregor.
Thoughts on this Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight?
It's a bit strange. Is my interest? The interest is a low one. I don't know. I don't understand it.
Got it. Any difference between this one and?
I wish well.
And that wasn't the only time he had something to say about the fight, except this time he more specifically had a message for Jake Paul and other influencer fighters.
It just got announced, and Mike Tyson's going to fight Jake Paul. Is this a world that you would step into?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, look, we kickstarted that. It was the first crossover event in combat sport.
Floyd, right?
When I fought Floyd, it was kind of the opening of that.
There's more people watching boxing now than were 5 years ago, and I think these guys are a big part of that.
Oh, for sure, hustlers, and they played a great game. But for me, it does set a bad precedent in the industry, because what you've got now is, and I'll say this to the young athletes coming up, men and women, don't aspire to be, one of these like YouTuber fighters.
Right.
Aspire for world titles. Aspire for Olympic. That is how you rise. That is how forever. That is how you etch your name in history. Doing these little smash and grab fights, you might get a few likes, but it's not. There's nothing substantial to it. It's hollow. It's hollow. It can be profitable, but
Safe to say he's not the biggest Jake Paul fan out there either. Next up, we have Tyron Woodley, another UFC champion, who's also a pro boxer. He's lost to Jake Paul in the past, but this is what he had to say about the Jake versus Tyson fight.
I gotta ask you, man, this seems like a horrible idea for one of them. I have my opinion, but I want to hear your opinion first.
I think you're gonna think it's a horrible idea for Mike. I don't think it's a horrible idea for anybody. At the end of the day, Mike Tyson, just watching the dude hit fucking pass in the bag. Like, I always have this inside joke. They be like, how much would you have to get paid to fight Mike Tyson? I'm like, shit, I'll never be able to spend it. Like, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, he's fighting the one fighter that most people fear. And I feel like 58, 27, the age is not a factor. That's a wash, right? Experience level obviously is going to go to Mike Tyson. But Jake's had a screw loose, man. I guarantee you Mike didn't offer it. He offered this to Mike.
Yeah, but don't you think that if Jake Paul knocks out 58-year-old Mike Tyson, people are going to say, okay, congratulations, you knocked out somebody who's 58, who hasn't fought professionally in a very long time, who's, I've seen him in videos going through the airport in a wheelchair before. Mike Tyson, respect, legend. I don't want to take away anything from what he's accomplished, but the fact of the matter is he's going to be 58 years old. Jake Paul.
I disagree. I think that if Jake Paul beat Mike Tyson, I don't give a fuck if he's 70. You're going to have to put at least an ounce of respect on his name. Mike Tyson right now, off muscle memory alone, he can have a flashback, right? He can step on the wrong eggshell and let off a combination that can kill most people. No bullshit. He has the power and ability to shift organs in your body if he hits you with the right force, right? So I think he forgot more technique than Jake Paul has ever learned in his life. You've seen him on the pads and mitts, right? That doesn't mean it's an 8 to 12 round fight. This is going to be a 6 to 8 round fight. And I feel like on memory alone and on his ability alone, he's going to be able to outdo, he's going to be able to subdue any type of fresh, newborn technique that Jake Paul has learned, and he can just go into autopilot and wreck some of the current heavyweight champions in the boxing division now.
You believe that a 58-year-old Mike Tyson has the ability right now to knock out Jake Paul? As somebody who's been in the ring with Jake Paul and knows what kind of fighter he is, you believe that Mike Tyson could, if he lands, could knock out Jake Paul?
If you dust off that old-ass Dell computer out your closet and press power and hit the space bar, is that motherfucker gonna move over to the side? Yes. He was programmed as a machine of war. Him and Tank are the only two boxers in the history of the sport that has as many knockouts with a jab, as a hook, as an overhand, high, low body shots. Each punch, they have had a knockout on their record from every punch you can throw. I got a lot of overhand right knockouts. I have 0 left-hand knockouts. And I'm not the only one in that boat. I feel like on his muscle memory, on the drills and repetition that he's done for all of those years, right? That alone is enough to beat anybody.
Yet for number 7, we have the legendary Teddy Atlas, who was Mike Tyson's former coach. Atlas used to be Mike Tyson's own boxing coach. And here's what he said.
No agreement set aside. No agreement, no funny business. Dangerous, risky. I give him credit, but a risky fight for Paul, especially early.
Yeah.
Tyson's going to come out there.
Well, that should certainly
and
bring
if
in
you
the
do have an
eyeballs.
agreement with him, yeah, good luck.
That's a good point.
Because I know Tyson. Good luck. Because when that bell rings, he might have a short memory about any agreement other than the agreement to put one of those hands on your chin. And one last thing, somebody told me about a couple. They're building it up, they're promoting it, right? And Tyson has put out a couple of I guess, videos, looking good in the gym, and then basically, saying to Paul, you made a mistake, and, doing what Tyson does, intimidating type tactic. Tyson he's as good as that. He's as good at that as he is in hurting people with his combinations. He always has been. I mean, he's been an intimidator in the lines of a Sonny Liston, of Roberto Duran. He knows how to intimidate, and he knows what it can do for him. He knows that it can break a guy down before the first bell even.
He believes if the fight is not scripted, Tyson definitely has a good chance of winning. But he had more to say in another interview.
I'm actually a fan of Jake Paul's, and I'll tell you why. The American dream. He had a vision, he had a belief. He went out there, he took all his YouTube, whatever you call those freaking things, all his YouTube followers. He went to a different platform, to a different arena. As I said, he had a vision for what he was going to do. And you know what? He had the guts, he had the determination to go out there and color in that vision. And take risks doing it. Yeah, everyone says he's fighting old guys, he's fighting guys that aren't real boxers, he's fighting guys that are boxers but they're not good boxers. All that. He has taken risks. He's been in there with MMA guys that, like I said about Ngannou, they might have been a little older at the time. They might not have been purely a striker. Obviously, they were UFC champions, but they were champions. They were fighters. There were guys that were in the atmosphere that Jake Paul had not been in. Jake Paul's been in 3 years. They have been in it for 20 years, 15 years. That was a risk, and he took that challenge. He took that challenge, and he went and he succeeded. And then he fought a fight everyone wanted in Tommy Fury, and he lost in a competitive way. But I like him because he has not disrespected my sport. I've been in it 50 years. He didn't disrespect. He went, he learned what he had to learn. He busted his backside, training, doing what he had to do, to learn the best he could learn. And he's still a work in progress. And he understands that, but he's getting better. In his last fight, he was in with nobody, I get it, but he was more comfortable in the ring. You could see it. He's seeing more in the ring, in that difficult cauldron, I call it, that furnace, where guys that haven't been in it before, they get burnt up. He's not getting burnt up. He's not getting evaporated because he's doing his job, because he believes in what he's doing. He's a tough kid. He's got a lot of...
Even if his money is on Tyson, he still thinks Jake is a good fighter. But next is someone who doesn't think Tyson should be fighting at all. 6. Dana White. Dana White had always opposed the idea of Tyson getting back into the ring altogether. And he opposed the idea of the fight happening at all. 5. The Game. People from outside the industry, however, have also shared their thoughts on the matter. American rapper The Game had this to say.
It was just announced today that Mike Tyson and Jake Paul are going to box.
Mike Tyson and Jake Paul?
Yes. It's official on Netflix. Live.
Yeah, that's going to make a lot of money.
Ain't it though?
I mean, that's what the first thing I thought about was how much money that's going to make.
He now reveals who he thinks will win.
Who you got?
Mike Tyson? Yeah, Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson's 57.
No, I don't give a fuck how old Mike Tyson is. Have you seen Mike Tyson punching shit at 57?
I interviewed him a couple years ago. Yeah.
No, but I'm saying beast, recently, like...
No, he's still fast.
So again, here's the thing. And this is going to come out before that probably, right? So Jake Paul has got to condition himself for the actual sentence. I'm going to fight Mike Tyson, right? Because you disarm yourself when you say that. If you said it to yourself in the mirror and you were like, yo, I'm about to fight Mike Tyson, you instantly become a fucking skinny, starving kid, just mentality-wise, right?
While there are people like The Game who genuinely think Mike Tyson is going to win the fight, there are other people who hold an unpopular opinion on the matter. A lot of social media users believe that while Mike Tyson in his prime would have obviously knocked Jake Paul's head off, he's nearly 60 years old and way past his good years. Even if Tyson is in great shape now for his age, his punch just won't have anywhere near the same power as before. They predict this is how the fight's going to go down. Tyson will be due well in the first round, and it's going to be even. But after that, he's going to be completely gassed, and Jake Paul will take a relatively easy win with a knockout or technical knockout. Also, among bookmakers, there's little debate about who's the favorite to win. Most of them have picked Jake Paul as the likely winner, and their main reason is Tyson's age. Johnny Avello, the top odds maker for DraftKings, said, "It's all about age. Who steps in the ring at 57 years old? We realize people are going to say, Mike Tyson? The great Mike Tyson is an underdog in this fight against Jake Paul? And they probably are going to bet the underdog, but we're okay with that." So the odd makers are not in Tyson's favor. But for 4, let's look at Hulk Hogan's prediction. While he's not a professional boxer, Hogan was an icon in the world of pro wrestling back in his day. And here's what he had to say.
You keep forgetting his name is Iron Mike Tyson. And, this is just a small glitch in the system, a temporary setback. If you watch Tyson train, he's quick, he's fast, he moves like he did 20 years ago. I'm friends with both guys. Love Mike to death, but I was down in Miami at the Formula races with Jake Paul, and I pulled Jake aside and say, "Bro, what's up with this thing? I mean, is this a work like wrestling? Or are you guys going to really go out?" He goes, "I'm going to knock this ass out." I'm excited about it. I'm kind of glad it's rescheduled because I don't want any excuses. I want both men at 100%. And I got a feeling this is going to be the fight of the century, brothers.
He's now asked to consider the age difference that has had people doubting Mike Tyson.
And the 30-year age difference, not a big deal.
Well, if it was anybody else, I would say yes. But Tyson has that eye of the tiger, brother. I mean, when he gets focused, he will seek and destroy. And I see that bad dog look in his eye now. It's like when you don't trust a bad dog that might bite you at any time. That's the look he's got. I remember that look from 25 years ago, bro. It's kind of scary. I just hope Jake Paul steps up and is ready for Iron Mike.
Now for number 3, we have former UFC fighter Chuck Liddell. Hulk Hogan wasn't the only one TMZ Sports interviewed about the scheduled fight. Former MMA fighter Chuck Liddell was also asked to share his thoughts.
If Tyson's taking a dive, if Tyson hits him, it's over.
So,
hey, by the way, last thing to go with power.
Interesting.
Last thing to go with power. He hits him, it's over.
So it doesn't matter.
Mike's still hitting. You see Mike's still hitting.
He believes unless Mike takes a dive in the fight, meaning if the fight isn't scripted as many people have speculated, Jake Paul stood no chance. Yet another experienced fighter who has his money on Tyson, he was invited to a podcast by Logan Paul, where he was asked his thoughts on the fight.
Just for me, my just own personal opinion of how I feel about it. Like, I don't know, like, can he do this? I see clips of him fighting, but I don't know, or sparring or doing mitts or whatever. And I don't know when that's from. I don't know.
And the sparring footage is recent.
I'm sure.
I don't know if it is, but that's what I'm saying. And when you watch that sparring footage, I'm scared. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see it at all.
Looks like he can hit like a tank.
Yeah.
And your brother's really good at keeping people outside. If the old Mike Tyson shows up for 5 minutes, like, how do you get past that?
Right.
Right? He doesn't need to be there for the whole fight. He needs to be there for 5 minutes.
5 seconds.
Yeah. I don't know. I hear your strategy and I see your strategy. I don't know that I wouldn't just run for 2 or 3 rounds and hope that he gets tired.
Maybe that's a strategy too. I don't know.
Yeah. Punches himself out after 2 or 3 rounds, and then you just come in there and pick him apart. But I don't know. Look, my hat's off to both of them for taking the fight, and I understand people's concerns for Mike and all that stuff. He's a grown man. If he wants to take that challenge, and medically they check him out, they say he's okay.
1. Michael Jai White. Jai White, who's an MMA fighter, also had his thoughts on who would emerge victorious.
I got Mike Tyson.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't see how Jake pulls this off. I see Mike Tyson punching him in the body, and I don't see how Jake stops that. Jake is not of the size to give Mike a problem. Mike can be, big guys would hold Mike, guys with long reach that outweigh him.
Yeah.
I think people that's Mike's weight, with Mike's center of gravity, I don't think there's anything that's going to stop him. Mike hits him in the body don't move that much. I I don't see how Jake survives a body attack, personally.
Okay, I looked it up. Mike Tyson is 220 pounds.
That's 1 pound less than his optimal weight.
And Jake Paul is about 200 pounds. He's got about 20 pound
Are
difference.
you kidding me? He's only 200?
Yeah.
Oh, gee.
Now, the interviewer brings up the question of Mike's age.
Tyson is 57. And, okay.
I don't care.
When
still
Tyson
could-
fought,
yeah.
okay, so when Tyson fought Roy Jones Jr.,
Mm-hmm.
well, he clearly won. But he did seem kind of winded during that fight.
Roy Jones have skills that Jake will never have, even at that age.
Now up next, check out this other boxing video I made. You'll enjoy it even more.